будете проговаривать, и как раз попадете в тех людей, которые вам об этом и писали.
Уже 10.
Так. Все хорошо, трансляция у нас готова. Сейчас я вас сделаю организатором. Начинаем, да?
Ольга, там презентация должен работать, да? Здесь не показывает, пока слайд не ходит. Я думаю,
Так, обновите в браузере страничку,
браузер, да?
обновите.
Ага.
Давайте сейчас обновим, чтобы вы ее увидели,
Ага.
презентацию.
Все, Ольга, спасибо.
Появилась,
окей.
да? Презентация
Да.
начинается 2.12 с сегодняшнего числа. Она, да?
Да, правильно.
Все,
Да,
отлично.
всё.
Хорошо, тогда стартуем.
Да, все, спасибо.
Готово.
So hey there, everyone. Welcome to our second lesson. I hope you can hear me. So first of all, if you can hear me, type yes. Okay, guys. So if you can hear me, that's wonderful. So once again, Nash Akhtar here. Really excited to teach you all. But before we start, I also would like to know more about you all. So could you please tell me, where are you from? Are you from the UAE, from Uzbekistan, from Kazakhstan? So would like to know where you're from. And also, can you tell me why you need IELTS? Do you need it for your further education? Maybe it could be for immigration. So what is the purpose? And also, guys, what is the required score? Do you guys need a band 7, a band 8? So would like to know about that too. And also, when are you planning to take the exam? Are you planning to take the exam in the nearest future? Okay, so we have from Russia, from the UAE, from India. That's wonderful. Okay, so from Kyrgyzstan for education. Understood. And what's the required score? Do you have specific requirements? Now, sometimes it could be an overall 7, 7.5, and also could be like not less than 7 for each section. Maybe for listening, you need a band 8, and for the other sections, you need just a 7. So we'd like to know about that as well. Okay, so we have from Yerevan, from Armenia. And when are you guys plan to take the exam? It's already December. So are you planning to take the exam in December? Maybe it's going to be in Jan 2023, could be in Feb or in March. Okay. So I see that one person needs like 7, 7, and also 8. So Jinesh, do you need 8 for listening? Are you planning to migrate to Canada? Are you planning to immigrate to Canada? Okay, so thanks for sharing, guys. So very high requirements, but that's how now IELTS is all about. Sometimes they might need 7.5 overall. So great. And maybe, okay. And I also want to understand the challenging sections for you all once again. I do remember yesterday you guys told me that sometimes reading is a bit confusing, listening is a bit confusing. What about speaking and writing? Do you find these two sections challenging? And also, what is exactly challenging for you? Let's say in speaking, what is it? In writing, what is it? So I would really appreciate if you could share your concerns, your challenges with me today. So also I could share some tips during the lesson. So what kind of challenges do you face with speaking and writing? And by the way, how do you prepare? Do you prepare by yourself? Maybe there is a tutor. Do you watch a lot of videos? Do you have like a well-organized program? Okay. So reading is the concern. Okay, so it's wonderful. So when we speak about the required score, what I can say is that if you prepare effectively, if you have a well-structured program, even with a pre-intermediate level, after 2 to 3 months, you can easily achieve a 7 or maybe 7.5. Now, I'm not saying 8, 8.5, and so on, but to achieve a 7 and 7.5, I mean, these are like, achievable targets, practical targets if you prepare effectively. So that's what I would like to mention first. And the second point is if you have an upper intermediate level, a strong intermediate, upper intermediate level, if you prepare effectively, if you acquire all the essential skills, if you rely on authentic resources, you can achieve a band 8, 8.5. You have seen our students' results. They have done it. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to do that as well. So fine, guys. So I see that some say writing is the most challenging. Some say that, all of them are difficult, and academic writing. Okay, so it's understood. Academic writing, it is tricky. You need to kind of understand how to structure sentences. First, you need to kind of, when it comes to line graphs, need to focus on describing trends, then need to think about forming the paragraphs. And you also need to understand how you're going to manage your paragraphs. For example, when you describe line graphs, here is a tip. When you're describing line graphs, if you see two upward trends and two downward trends, the upward trends should be in one paragraph and the downward trends should be in another paragraph. So a lot to learn there. I do agree. And it requires a lot of practice. Fine, guys. That's enough. Let's start our lesson. So let's focus on how to achieve a 7+ for speaking and for writing. That's our lesson today. So when it comes to speaking, if you want to achieve more than 7 or 7 and higher in speaking, you need to understand how the examiner is going to assess you. So you need to answer according to the marking criteria. It's very important. So it doesn't matter whether you expand your vocabulary, doesn't matter whether you work on your pronunciation. You really need to understand how the examiner is going to assess you and whether you are able to deliver, whether you are able to perform equally well in all 4 criteria. Now, remember, criteria is a plural noun. Criterion is the singular form. Quite often I see students make this mistake as well. They say criterias. It's incorrect. So in IELTS speaking, there are 4 criteria. We have fluency and coherence, pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. Now, when you prepare for this exam, you need to understand in which criterion you perform the best and in which criterion you need to focus more. The same goes with writing, but that I'll discuss a bit later. So when you want to improve your speaking, it's not just practicing, right? It's not just learning new words. You need to understand whether you're improving your speaking skills based on these criteria. Fine. So let me move further, guys. So that's why I'm going to show you what we should do for every criterion to achieve 7 and higher. So if you meet these requirements for every criterion, you will for sure achieve a very high score. So I'm referring to 7.5, 8, and so on. So for fluency and coherence, you need to develop your answers logically. You need to be logical. And I'm going to explain that a bit later. You need to avoid hesitations and restarts of sentences. So when you speak at the exam, you cannot hesitate, or you can't think in the middle of the sentence what to say. Now, if the examiner asks, like, what do you like about your job? You can't say like, I like the salary. So you can't bring that hesitation. When the examiner sees that you are hesitating, he will definitely lower your scores. It can't go beyond a 6. So you need to minimize your hesitation. I agree that it comes with practice, but anyway, you need to record yourself. It's a tape, by the way. You need to record yourself, listen to your recordings, re-record yourself, try to see why you're hesitating. Now, one of the reasons students could hesitate is because they tend to think what to say while they speak. It's always better to think what to say before you speak. And professional speakers, that's what they do. If you watch great politicians, watch some interviews, what's their approach? They never start, they always take some time to process their thoughts, and only then they'll speak. I would ask you all to do the same. Then, of course, like I said, you need to record yourself, guys. Always record your answers, listen to your recordings. That will definitely improve this situation. It will minimize hesitation. Then another point is you need to use transitions and linking words correctly. Your ideas should be well connected, and also you need to speak at a good speed. Look at the model answer. Let's look at the model answer. While I read the model answer, I'll show you what I'm talking about. What do you like about your job? Well, there are a number of things that I appreciate about my job. Firstly, it's the working environment. We have a very organized structure, and all of us work as a team, which is very important for me. On top of that, there is a lot of job satisfaction. In other words, it's always pleasing to see your customers satisfied with your work. Guys, look, it's nicely organized. Like, firstly, it's the working environment. We have a very organized structure, and all of us work as a team, which is very important for me. On top of that, there is a lot of job satisfaction. In other words, it's always pleasing to see your customers satisfied with your work. So as you can see, it's logically structured. Ideas are well connected, like using transitions and linking words, right? And then I also showed you how you should speak. You should not speak too fast. Now, whenever there is a comma, make a short pause, like, well, there are a number of things that I appreciate about my job. Firstly, so as you can see, after firstly, there is a comma. You stress on that, and you should make a short pause. So it's not about like speaking slowly or trying to speak too fast. It's about how to maintain the standard pace when you speak, or when you speak like a native speaker. So it's a very important part in IELTS speaking. And I believe that you guys need to train yourself to speak like this if you want to achieve a very high score. So once again, remember, to achieve more than 7 in this criterion, you need to develop your answers logically. You need to avoid hesitations and restarts of sentences. You need to use transitions and linking words correctly, and you need to speak at a good speed. Now, you need to question yourself, which trainer or an expert would provide feedback if you pay money for a course? Will they provide feedback based on the marking criteria? When they listen to your answers and when they provide feedback, would they say like, wow, I like your idea? Are they going to say, wow, I like the style of speaking? Or they're going to provide feedback based on the marking criteria, and whether they will mention like, look, you spoke logically, but you still hesitate. So that's why it's going to be, let's say, 6, not a 7. Now, that kind of feedback is so valuable. It's so valuable if you want to achieve a very high score. Guys, let me show you another model answer. What do you like about your university? I love my teachers. I love the way we are taught. I love my batchmates. Now, this is how students answer quite often, and that's not the right way. And an answer like this can only give you a band 5 because the answers are short. There is no logic, no linkers used, no complex structures, and no examples, or the answers are not elaborated properly. Look at the model answer. What do you like about your university? Honestly, I feel privileged to study at my university because I'm satisfied with almost everything. Firstly, I admire our lecturers. They are so committed and always willing to help us. On top of that, I'm happy with the quality of education. In fact, my university is well known for the teaching standards. And finally, I shouldn't forget to mention the overall atmosphere. There is a lot of positive energy around, which is motivating. Now here, guys, everything is sequenced nicely. Like, honestly, I feel privileged to study at my university because I'm satisfied with almost everything. And he gives the first reason. Firstly, I admire our lecturers. And why? Because they are so committed and always willing to help us. On top of that, I'm happy with the quality of education. And then why? So this is how you should answer. Already you know that whenever you hear what questions, you need to come up with reasons. And if you have more than one reason, use linkers. So this way, guys, you will be logical. Your ideas will be well connected, right? And also you'll be using transitions and linking words. So these are the requirements for fluency and coherence. Now, like I said, guys, feedback in speaking is crucial. Now, in our IELTS expert course, it's on a special discount. You know the price today. It's extremely cheap for the options we provide. Now, we conduct speaking workshops. Now, our next speaking workshop is going to be tomorrow, but we also have speaking workshops on Fridays in the evenings with our experts, with ex-examiners and certified IELTS trainers. So you will practice. We will ask questions. We will show you how you should answer. And then we will teach you how to develop your ideas logically. And also, remember, we will tell you how you should improve based on which principles, okay, you perform well on grammar, but not so well when it comes to fluency and coherence. Now, this has been our secret, or I would say the key for students to perform really well in speaking. And as you can see, guys, we have 8.5 for speaking, 8 for speaking, 9 for speaking, again 8.5, 7 for speaking. We will definitely show you how you should improve your speaking skills, because I know quite often you have this desire. I understand students, they say I want to speak better. I want to improve my speaking skills, and quite often you might hear improve, expand your vocabulary. That's what they say, expand your vocabulary, learn new words. But that's not enough. Or maybe they say try to minimize grammar mistakes. Yes, it's important. I don't deny that. But you need to train yourself to meet the requirements of the marking criteria. So that's a very important part. So I believe that you guys should have this guidance. And I would ask you to consider the IELTS expert course, which is on a special offer. So guys, let's move on to the next criterion, pronunciation. Now, remember, when it comes to pronunciation, it's not just pronouncing words properly. There are 3 factors. The first one, of course, you need to pronounce words properly. Yes, you need to show that when you speak about desert, it's actually a huge land with a lot of sand, like the Sahara Desert. Dessert is actually what you eat, like a pudding or a pie, which is sweet. That's dessert. Now, if you confuse this in your pronunciation, yes, the examiner is going to lower our score. So we should be very careful with that. Expertise, not expertise. Informative. informative. Sometimes I hear people say informative, but it's informative. Sometimes I hear people say accessorize, whereas it should be accessories. I sometimes hear people say clothes, whereas it should be clothes. Please double check. A good tip would be to visit oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com. Type it, oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com. If you come across a new word, type and see how it should be pronounced. Because the way an American would pronounce or a Brit would pronounce would be different. So over there, they'll show this, how words should be pronounced properly, and you should keep that in mind as well. The next one, tell me if you know this. Please type whether you know what is chunking. Guys, have you heard this? How to chunk? Or is this the first time? Because it's an important part, how to chunk. Like you need to know how to chunk. So look at the example here. You know, I love my job. You know, I love my job. So chunking means to make natural pauses while speaking. In other words, how to break a sentence. Because when you speak, you can't say like, you know, I love my job. Like, you know, I love my job. Okay, I'll call you when I reach home. Like, I'll call you when I reach home. So you need to know how to break a sentence to create that clarity. It's a very important part. So that's why here, guys, after you know, there is a comma. So you should make a short pause. Like, you know, I love my job. You know, I love my job. Then also vary your intonation. So look at the example here. Ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. So ever since I finished high school, it's a dependent clause. I haven't met with my batchmates. It's an independent clause. So in a complex sentence, when the dependent clause comes first, have an ascending tone, like ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. So these are the factors that you should remember if you want to score more in this criterion. And I think that cannot happen overnight. It requires practice, and also it requires feedback from professional experts. So guys, if this is the first time you're hearing about chunking, please type yes. If this is not the first time, please type no. If you know about chunking, that's wonderful. If you don't know about chunking, you should know it today because I've explained it to you all, and you need to focus on this because it's an important part, especially if you're aiming for a 7.5, 8, and so on. So it's a very important part. Now, guys, let's move on to vocabulary. What we love, right? We love learning new words. And I believe that it is important. I would never say that it's not important. Now, remember, please note that when it comes to vocabulary, you need to use idioms. You need to use idiomatic expressions. You need to, you should avoid using common words too often. So that's why, guys, like, you know, when it comes to vocabulary, like I respect my father, it's better to say I look up to my father. A beautiful view, a picturesque view. So now, guys, I'm going to show you how you can remember words and expressions effectively. So I respect my father. We can say I look up to my father. I look up to my father means I respect him or admire him. Now, can you tell me a person that you look up to? Can you type sentences saying like, I look up to my professor because he's so, he's so knowledgeable, or he's always willing to help us. So can you give me an example using this phrase, like, I look up to, or tell me about a person that you look up to and why? And can you create your own examples here? Now, I look up to my father because he has been a great role model. What about you all, guys? Is there a person that you look up to? Can you type? Can you create your own examples? Because whenever you come across a new word or an expression, you need to create your own examples. This way, you will remember them. But there is also something else that you should do, but that I'll explain a bit later. But tell me about a person that you look up to, guys. Come on, create your own examples. Okay. So not look after, but I look up to my best friend because she got admission to Oxford, or she entered Oxford. Yes, well done. I look up to. That's great. Happy for you and for your friend. Uh, Now, the thing is, the logic here, right? You look up to someone who is experienced, who is knowledgeable, who is successful, who is who is really wise and so on, not just because you love. Okay, that could be. I'm not saying it's illogical, but best thing to say about their achievements, because, they are ambitious and they have achieved so many things. That would be much better. Yeah, well done. Well done. You see, guys, that's the most important part. Now, here I am giving my feedback on your examples because you need it. It's not just about using idioms and expressions, but how you should use it and when you should use it. You check the band descriptors. It clearly says that if a candidate uses idioms and expressions inappropriately, they will not achieve a very high score. On the other hand, you should use idioms and expressions. It's very important. If you don't use idioms and expressions, you can't achieve a 7 for this criterion. And if you don't, that can really lower your score. Now, if you have friends who, are struggling, that could be the reason. Quite often people say, like, I know idioms, I know expressions, I did use idioms. But why did I achieve a band 6? Because maybe they did not use it properly. Maybe they didn't receive proper feedback when they were preparing. So we also need to kind of, keep that in mind. So yes, well done. Well done. Okay, so let me move on to the point, which would be very important. Guys, when it comes to our expert course, on our platform, you'll join the expert course. When it comes to speaking, you're going to have speaking workshops with ex-examiners. That's a very valuable opportunity for y'all, because the examiners we work with, they have a lot of experience. We have one examiner who just retired. So she has worked as an examiner for 16 years. And, she's vastly experienced. I meet with her quite often to discuss certain things. And, you guys are going to have speaking workshops with, experts on a weekly basis. On our platform, on the other hand, we have topics like occupation. You will see the tenses that should be used. You will learn idioms and expressions. You will see model answers. You will listen to model answers. You will read scripts. Now, this is a great opportunity, and it will take you step by step. Same goes with education, technology, leisure, shopping, fashion, food and restaurants, information technology, sports, and social situation. Now, you can say, why do I need it? I can go online and find it as well. I agree with you. I don't deny that. But the problem is, no one is going to show you how well you should use it. And the second point is, no one is going to tell you whether you're using it properly. Now, this is where people go wrong. And I'm telling this to you all with a lot of experience, guys. I've been preparing students for more than 10 years. The pain is not understanding why they went wrong, but just complaining that everything is going wrong. So this could be because of improper guidance. And, the exam is becoming more and more expensive. On average, it's going to cost $200. And I have a feeling that next year it's going to be even more. So you just need to understand how you're going to invest your time first wisely, and also the money, because taking the exam several times, first of all, it's costly. And secondly, guys, I always tell my students, better to pass the exam in your first attempt, because the more you take, you're going to feel frustrated. And I hope you guys are not going to fall into that. But I'm saying that it's very important to use idioms and expressions. However, you need to know how to use them properly. And I believe that we have been very successful with our students because we showed them what kind of expressions they can use. Now, when we hear, and especially, all of our teachers, including me, when I hear a person talking, I always see like, okay, a very good answer, but I also would give some recommendations. Like, instead of saying like, it's a good opportunity, it's a lifetime opportunity, right? Or it's like, I think this opportunity is once in a lifetime. So using such expressions, you will definitely impress the examiner. And the student should understand, okay, a new expression. I always encourage my students to write it down, and I would expect the student to use it next time. And that way, we also have to discipline our students, that's for sure, but that's the best approach, guys. So when it comes to grammar, it's a no-brainer. You need to avoid grammar mistakes, and also you need to use a variety of sentence structures. Now, in English, guys, there are three types of sentences. We have simple sentences, complex sentences, and compound sentences. So remember, in the expert course, you will learn tenses, conditionals, how to use inversions, how to use comparative structures, and how to minimize mistakes with prepositions. Now, you know, guys, right? Students usually say, I should to work, whereas it should be, I should work. And also quite often when it comes to media, like I saw this in the internet. No, it's on the net. It was on the internet. Or I heard it on the radio. Or he's on TV, the preposition on. Now, these are like obvious mistakes, but happens quite often. And even a person who is extremely fluent, even a person who uses idioms might make mistakes like make mistakes with prepositions. And that could be the reason why they couldn't achieve a very high score. So now, guys, I'm going to show you some options here. Look at the question. It says, do you like to read? Look at the first option. It says, I do. I enjoy reading because it helps me to unwind myself. Or I do. I've always enjoyed reading because it helps me to unwind myself. Do you like to read? Number 3 says, yes, I like to read. And look at number 4. Well, reading has always been my passion since it helps me to unwind myself. Now, can you tell me which answer is the best option? Is it the first, the second, the third, or the fourth? Or maybe 2 options could be more or less fine. So can you tell me which option is the best here, guys? Yes, I would say number 4 is the most appropriate. Number 2 is not bad, but number 4 is the correct answer. Number 4. Why? First, redundant words. We have used redundant words like, well, reading has always been my passion since it helps me to unwind myself. Well, reading. So we use well. Yes, that's like redundant words like, well, you know, actually, frankly speaking. You need to use such words in speaking to sound natural. And also, guys, look, reading has always been my passion, present perfect. Like that means from the past till the present, since it helps me to unwind myself. We have used a complex structure. So this answer meets all the requirements to kind of achieve 7 and higher. That's the most important part. Very good. Very good. So you guys have got it. So always remember that. Now, that's why I said, when you speak, record your answers, see whether you also meet all the requirements, like giving longer answers, logical structuring, using linkers, using redundant words. You don't repeat all the words from the questions. Now, for example, if the examiner asks, do you like, see whether you say, yes, I like. Maybe you should use different expressions instead of like. So please pay attention to those things as well. Fine. That's great. Wonderful. Now, guys, let's try to summarize what we have learned in IELTS speaking. So to achieve a 7+, you need to give longer answers. You need to use words related to the topic. You need to use idiomatic expressions. You need to use a wide range of sentence structures with flexibility. You need to minimize hesitation, and you need to sequence your ideas and use linkers effectively. That's why I said, like, if you want to achieve 7 or higher, you should receive proper feedback based on the marking criteria. Today, even when it comes to online courses, online schools, and I'm speaking about very popular online schools in the international world, and being an official IELTS administrator, I know that they make a huge mistake. They all believe that IELTS is all about just preparing on the platform, doing some tasks and so on. And they tend to overlook the feedback students should receive from experts. But we guys, on the other hand, have invested so much. We believe that students should always have this personal approach, personal attention, and also constant feedback on their performance, even on speaking, because I believe that it's crucial so that they understand how they should be, how they should improve, and also that the teachers guide them consistently. Fine. Now, I'm going to move on to writing, guys, but remember, at the end, I'm going to tell you all how you're going to receive the ebook. So stay till the end. And also, I'm going to show you a special offer with the IELTS Expert course. To be honest, like, you will be surprised with the price we offer and what I'm talking about, because it's on a special deal. And I think you guys should really consider joining us and joining me. And I'll be very excited to teach you all and help you all to achieve a very high score. So guys, like I said, just quickly about the IELTS Experts course, like here we have weekly speaking workshops. There'll be 16 units with interactive tasks on the platform too. So you learn a word, there'll be interactive tasks with multiple choice questions where you will see whether the words you have learned, whether you will see whether you are able to use it properly. So those tasks are very interactive. Then a personal tutor, by the way, will check your recorded answers. So you'll also send us some recordings when you prepare with us, when you join our IELTS Expert course, and over 50 Band 9 model answers. And then, guys, at the end, again, you have 6 complete practice tests. So you will record your answers, you will send it to us, and we will show you, okay, now you're a 7. Now you're going to be a 7.5. Now you're going to be a Band 8. And I can tell you guys, you will not find anywhere, I guarantee you will not find such feedback anywhere in the market around the world. We are the only organization, being an official IELTS administrator, I can guarantee we are the only organization where we provide this service. And it's a very unique service. And if you want to get feedback for your speaking, guys, nowadays it's really expensive. Maybe one feedback costs around $10 to $15. But the expert course I'm going to show you today is it's on a special deal, and you'll understand why I'm kind of emphasizing on that. So let's speak about writing. Now, to achieve a 7+ in writing, you also need to understand the marking criteria. So there are 4 criteria. We have task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, and grammar. Now I'm referring to task 2 writing. So for task response, to achieve 7 and higher, you need to write the specified number of words. You need to follow an academic style of writing. You need to understand the question correctly, and you need to cover all the points of the task. Now, remember, guys, when I speak about the academic style, when you write essays, do not use contractions. You can't say people don't have time. You can't say people don't have time, or can't, shouldn't. Avoid doing that. It should be should not, do not, cannot. But also, to make your writing even more impressive, minimize negatives. Like, for example, instead of saying do not have time, it's better to say the lack of time. So let's say people follow a poor diet because they don't have time. It's better to say do not have time. Or it's even better to say the lack of time is the main cause for people to follow a poor diet, the lack of time. Instead of saying don't have money, insufficient funds. So you just need to learn this, but it's a very important part. But it's quite often when I see the way people write essays, it's even sad to see that, teachers, trainers, they don't correct them. So you just see that because you need to pay attention to it, because it's very important to make your writing style formal. Then, guys, when it comes to essays, you know that we have reason solutions or problem solutions. We have opinion, discussion, 2-question essays. So you need to make sure that you cover all the points. For example, if it's problem solution, you need to make sure in your supporting paragraphs, you address the problem. You kind of mention what the problem is, give examples, then you need to give solutions. Then when you write your conclusion, you need to summarize. You need to restate the main points. Now, when it comes to coherence and cohesion, coherence means logical structure or being organized. Cohesion means when the ideas are well connected. So that's why make sure to use paragraphs appropriately. So guys, in a task 2 essay writing, can you tell me how many paragraphs should we have? When you write an essay where there should be 250 words, we discussed that yesterday, how many paragraphs should we have in our task 2 essays? I'm speaking about the minimum number. I'm not referring to the maximum number. How many paragraphs? 1, 2, 3, or 4? So when you write task 2 essays, do we need to have 2 paragraphs? Is that okay? Or do we need to have 4 paragraphs? 5, 6? So the minimum number should be 4. Absolutely. So we should have a clear introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and 1 conclusion. So an introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Now, always remember, the examiner will definitely check whether there are 4 or let's say 3 paragraphs. And he would make sure whether the first paragraph is the introduction, 2 defined paragraphs, and the conclusion. So that's important. Well done. Need to use linking devices. We're going to look into it today. Arrange your ideas logically. Support all ideas with relevant examples based on your knowledge, experience, and draw relevant conclusions. So that's important for coherence and cohesion. Lexical resources, we actually did that yesterday. Try to use less common words. Now we know instead of important, we can use words like crucial, pivotal. So in your essay writing, try to use less common words. And you need to use topical vocabulary. Now, that's a very important part too, guys. You cannot go to the exam saying, like, I wish I'm going to have an essay question related to crime because I'm very good at it. And also like, oh, I wish I'm not going to get anything about globalization. Now, that's a very wrong attitude. You need to be well prepared to face any topic. And that's why, if you know, there are common topics in IELTS, and it doesn't go beyond that. We have environment, technology, globalization, crime, social issues. Then we have, when it comes to general writing, like, city life. So these are the common topics. And usually you need to know specific vocabulary based on the topic and based on the question. So quite often the topics get repeated. The questions, they change. So last time it could be an opinion essay based on environment. This time it could be a reason solution essay. So always focus on the topic and the subject itself. That way, guys, you can be well prepared. So let's move on to the next one. So when it comes to grammar, you also need to kind of minimize grammar mistakes. So that's why, guys, focus on the following points. So these are the common mistakes, and try to avoid these mistakes: poor structuring, poorly developing ideas, informal style of writing, and poor grammar and sentence skills. So make sure that you structure your paragraphs properly. Now, also remember this: when you structure a paragraph, there should be a clear topic sentence. Always start your paragraph, your body paragraphs, with the simple sentence, with a clear idea, and then elaborate with examples, with reasons. And then when you give reasons and examples, use more complex structures. So it's a very important part as well. So how do we prepare our students when it comes to writing? So you will have weekly webinars. Quite often the webinars are going to be with me, and believe me, you're going to like it. I'm going to make it very interactive for you all. But on our platform, there'll be 14 units on our interactive platform. So there'll be 14 lessons, but that's like 14 units. Altogether, there'll be like 56 lessons there. So we start with, on our platform, introducing IELTS writing, types of essays, how to organize your ideas, how to structure sentences, how to make your writing style formal, how to use the definite article properly, how to use punctuation, Then actually we will teach you how to structure paragraphs. Then we'll focus on problem solution essays. Then we'll focus on opinion essays. Then you will learn how to write discussion essays. Then you will learn how to write 2-question essays. Then you will kind of focus on different topics. So that's why we have 14 units. And when it comes to task 1 writing, you will learn how to describe graphs, bar charts, pie charts, maps, diagrams, and processes. Plus, you will also learn how to kind of, describe a pie chart and a map, sorry, a pie chart and a table, or for example, a line graph and a table, because you can have such questions too, and you need to be prepared. Quite often students go wrong because they were not prepared. And when they see this at the exam, you must have heard that people say like, oh, I was not expecting that. I had a map, but I know I was not prepared for that. Or I had a bar chart and a table. I didn't know how to describe that. But if you take Cambridge IELTS practice test, book 8, the 8th book, you have task, like a practice task where there is a pie chart and a table based on land degradation. So you do need to prepare, guys. You will have such questions at the exam. And that's why I believe writing requires a lot of practice. Now, guys, let's do some tasks. Okay. Now, I spoke so much about coherence and cohesion. I told you that you need to structure your paragraphs logically. Now, can you read these 2 paragraphs and choose the best paragraph, which is logically structured, which has a clear topic sentence? And if you read the whole paragraph, there is a clear progression. Ideas are well connected. So which paragraph is the best here? Is it A or B? It should be a no-brainer. You need to focus on the paragraph which is logically structured. Okay, so some say it's A. Could this be B? Read carefully. It should be a no-brainer, we say. You shouldn't think too much. Definitely, it's A, right? Look at the first paragraph, paragraph A. The obvious reason for a stressful working atmosphere nowadays is the increasing level of competitiveness among employees. Consequently, this leads to a hostile atmosphere in the working environment. So you give the reason, then you speak about the effect or the impact. Then you introduce the solution. The best solution for this is for employers to create team activities. And for the solution, you give an example. For instance, it is known that many international companies organize tasks focusing on teams, which have made the employees perform effectively in a relaxed atmosphere. So look at the structure: reason, the effect or the impact, solution, an example. And the example is also given with the positive outcome, like which have made the employees perform effectively in a relaxed atmosphere. So well done. Yes, B is non-IELTS, is very personal, no logical structure. It says working atmosphere becomes stressful because people have too much to do. I think the work should be limited. It is the employer to respond, do so. If not, employees will leave. Now, quite often, it does look a bit funny, but when we read essays, we also see such essays. So you just need to keep that in mind. And also, guys, when you write essays, before you start writing, you need to plan it. You need to plan your paragraphs. You need to think about a formula. And when you prepare with us, we will teach you how you should structure your paragraphs. We will show you sentence by sentence how a paragraph should be structured. And I guarantee that you will not find the way we teach our students anywhere else. So that's why, guys, you can't just learn by looking at model answers. You need proper guidance, and also you need feedback. I'm now working with one of my students from the UAE, but he's from Nigeria, but he's living in the UAE. And after 2 weeks, I see that he has made significant progress. He's already on a 7. He's already on a 7, believe me. And I want to push him towards a 7.5, maybe 8, but I think he's going to take the exam very soon in December. I'm sure that he will achieve between 7 and 7.5. But when he wrote his first 2 essays, I wasn't very happy. And actually, I showed him what should be done. And we provide feedback based on the marking criteria. And I do believe that it's going to be very crucial for you all. Now, look at the logical structuring. Now, here we have a paragraph based on public transport. Public transport has a number of advantages. Firstly, it's the most economical option to travel around the city. For instance, in Moscow, the monthly subway ticket costs 10 times cheaper than maintaining a private vehicle. Moreover, public transport can be convenient, especially during peak hours. This could be illustrated by the increasing tendency to use the subway during office hours. Therefore, the role of public transport will always be significant. Guys, do you see the progression? Please check the band descriptors. You can find it on IELTS.org, the official website, and you will see what they mentioned. To achieve a 7 or higher, there should be a clear progression. Like public transport has a number of advantages. You see a clear topic sentence. So when the examiner reads this paragraph, he'll understand like, okay, this paragraph is going to be about the advantages of public transport. And it says, firstly, it's the most economical option to travel around the city. And then gives an example. For instance, in Moscow, the monthly subway ticket costs 10 times cheaper than maintaining a private vehicle. Moreover, public transport can be convenient, especially during peak hours. Now, that's the second example. So the advantage. And then it's explained with an example. This could be illustrated by the increasing tendency to use the subway during office hours. Therefore, a conclusion. Therefore, the role of public transport will always be significant. Now, if you can structure paragraphs like this, I guarantee a band 7, 7.5, 8, and if you use more advanced vocabulary, 8, 8.5 would also knock your door. So guys, we have learned so much during the past 2 days. I mean, I've shared a lot of things which I don't usually share with you all. I've been very open, and I'm pretty sure that you must have found it useful. But what's the road to achieve a 7+? The most practical thing that I would like to share with you all. You see, when it comes to, if you want to master a skill, there are 4 steps. We call it as the APIA method. A stands for acquire. P stands for practice. I stands for implement. And A stands for assess. So remember, even if you want to master any skill, this is how you should follow. First, acquiring, learning. Now, when you attend lessons, when you attend webinars, when you watch videos on YouTube, that's not enough. That's just acquiring. Like I showed you, you learn a new word, right? You know the meaning and you know the meaning. And if you close the book, it's going to remain there, but you will not remember it. The only way you will remember is by practicing, creating your own examples. And also, if you speak out loud with those examples, you will remember it. And then you'll understand how to use it at the right moment. Then, guys, implementation. So you need enough practice in order to implement it properly. And you need to always assess. Always remember, we are bound to make mistakes. So whenever we make mistakes, we should not be critical. We need to be analytical. So I'll take listening as an example. Listening, step 1, you learn the approach to every question type. Then you focus on section 1. You practice section 1. And you master section 1. And at the exam, you'll be able to implement all the skills. Same goes with section 2, section 3, and section 4. So then, guys, when you have enough practice, you'll be able to implement it. And then once you do your first test, you need to be analytical, assess. Now, let's say you made 15 mistakes. We can't complain. We need to be analytical. You need to understand, where did I go wrong? I always ask my students, when you do a complete reading or a listening test, you need to understand, okay, in listening, in which section did I make most of the mistakes? In which section did I make most of the mistakes? Is it section 1? Is it section 2? Is it section 3? Or is it section 4? In reading, it's the same. There are 40 questions. In which question type did I make most of the mistake? Is it matching headings, true, false, not given, multiple choice questions? So you need to understand that. That way you'll see, okay, fine, I am struggling with true, false, not given. Why? Now we learn how to deal with true, false, not given. So maybe a person is not kind of identifying keywords properly, or maybe doesn't focus much on paraphrasing, or struggles to find or to locate the information, or maybe thinks too much about the statement. So there are some people, they try to judge based on their knowledge. I had a student who is an expert, and I guess she's a doctor, and the text was about some bile, something related to gastroenterology, and actually she didn't agree with some of the statements. We shouldn't do that. So when you read and when you find answers, you need to find, you need to kind of, find the answers based on the text. So the answer should be related to the text, not related to your knowledge. So that could be an issue too. So you should not overcomplicate things. So you need to be analytical. That's a very important part. And believe me, guys, if you follow this path, you will definitely achieve a very high score. So we call it as the APIA method: acquire, practice, implement, assess. Do you know that quite often people fail to implement what they've learned during the preparation? Have you heard that? Like, there are some students, they say, like, at the exam, I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. The time was like, not enough for me. Oh, like, I couldn't answer all the questions. It happens, guys. And sometimes it might even sound funny, but when it happens, it's really painful. You see? So the thing is, you need to be well organized. In order to be well organized, this is the path. This is the path that would help you to achieve a very high score. Now, Masterclass Online has been very successful with the IELTS Expert course. For us, this course has been a game changer because we have helped over 5,000 students now to achieve very high scores. We have been very successful, and I can guarantee that you can't find results the way we show on our website. These are like genuine results of our students. Even today, actually, 2 students wrote to us where they have achieved 7.5 and overall 7. One lady even achieved a 7 after just preparing for 5 weeks. So that's how we prepare our students. Now, how we work. Now, remember, when it comes to the IELTS Expert course, you will have weekly online speaking workshops. And these speaking workshops are conducted by IELTS examiners. They are like ex-examiners and also certified experts. Then on a weekly basis, Mondays and Wednesdays, you're going to have live webinars, not free webinars, but these are webinars that we offer only for IELTS expert students, only for IELTS expert students. Quite often it will be me, and also we have other teachers experienced enough to conduct these webinars. So every Monday, guys, you're going to have webinars on listening and on reading. Every Wednesday, you're going to have webinars on writing. And then, guys, Friday evenings, you will have speaking workshops. If you can't make it on Fridays, you will attend the speaking workshops on Saturdays. So you have to attend the speaking workshops because, it's going to be a live session. And in every speaking workshop, there'll be only 7 to 8 students. Maximum, it could be 8. So there'll be 8 students, and there'll be a teacher who'll be asking questions, providing feedback. So that's how the IELTS Expert course works. So how do our courses help students to overcome these challenges, and why are we unique? Number one, a step-by-step guidance teaching all the essential skills in listening and reading. Guys, if you joined our lesson yesterday, and if you are here, you must have understood how I taught you all listening, and especially reading. So we go with the simpler task. We will show you the approach, and only then we will move on to more complicated tasks. What I did yesterday is just 5%. If you join my reading webinars, you'll understand how engaging it is, because quite often I receive positive feedback for my webinars. So you'll understand that. Then when it comes to other things, guys. So, like, we will revise grammar. So you will revise grammar on our platform, which I believe they are. I mean, the grammar skills are crucial both for speaking and for writing. Then, guys, you will learn over 400 uncommon words. I told you that already. So, like, it's dedicated to different topics from occupation, technology, places, people, and so on, and sufficient speaking practice. So I don't have to kind of say that again. So that's because of our speaking workshops. Then also you'll have examiner's guidance, because in every, like if you take the IELTS expert course, at the end of the course, you're going to have a mock exam. So it's more like the computer delivered mock exam at the end. So you will assess your progress. And the best part is, guys, if you join our IELTS expert course, you will only pay once. You'll always have our support. So today, guys, it's on a very special discount. I don't think that you can find a course for this price with what we offer. I repeat, you can join a course where there could be like 20 to 50 students, and the teacher is not at all interested in your progress, just would like to conduct a lesson. I'm talking about a different method, a method which has proven to be extremely effective, a method that would help you to enter your university with a very high score, a method that would help you to immigrate to your country that you dream of. So just think about it, because you're going to join a team of experts, and I think this offer is going to be valid for 2 days. My team would be more than happy to answer your questions, and I would be the happiest to teach you all next week. So like I said, we have the reading webinar on Monday. We will start our webinar from next Monday. So it's going to be the 5th of, it's going to be next Monday. And also, like, the writing webinar is going to be from Wednesdays. So you can join the course by click to buy the course. The link is there. And I already see that people are registering. That's wonderful. But please remember, guys, we can accommodate only 7 students for every batch, not more than that. So we close the registration immediately because we can't exceed that limit. It's going to be only 7 students because, we need to provide feedback. It's a lot of work. And for the price we're offering, I think it's a great deal. It's a wonderful deal. Guys, remember, please do your research. Do your research. Check on Google. In order to check one essay, it will cost $20. And these are not like, experts, by the way. They just check, they just make some corrections, and they charge $20. And some experts, they charge $40. I'm referring to 12 essays being checked in this program. You're going to attend 8 speaking workshops for 2 months. You're going to have access to our platform for 6 months. And you're going to have weekly webinars. So you have the platform, weekly live webinars. You're going to have speaking workshops. Your speaking answers are going to be checked, close to 12 speaking answers, 6 mock answers. Your recordings are going to be checked. So it's actually a great option. Will I be assisted during preparation? Of course, Isa, you will be. That's what I'm talking about. So for example, like, you'll be working on our platform. You will have a personal assistant who will be constantly in touch with you. You will have a personal expert who will be checking your essays and also providing feedback, like how I work with my students. Now, for example, for the past 1 week, I've been extremely busy with Atune because he's taking his exam in December. So you'll have a personal expert who will be communicating with you, who will be guiding you. Plus, you'll have these speaking workshops where our teachers will work with you. So we have a wonderful team. So that's why, guys. I'm concerned about timing because I'm working. I agree with you. I'm concerned about your time too, because I understand what you're talking about. That's why, guys, you see, the webinars are live. So we conduct the webinars in the evenings. If you can't attend, you can watch the recording. So every time when we conduct these webinars for the expert course, you will have access to the recordings. And also, guys, there are days we conduct the webinars on other days, depending on the requirement. Because there are students, they say like, look, I'm not available. So if we see that there are more than 3 students who can't make it on Mondays, we will conduct the webinar on Mondays, and also we'll conduct the webinar on Tuesdays based on their time. So that should not be an issue. Great. Do you have more questions about the expert course, guys? And I like that question, Jane. Like, what if I don't pass the exam? Look, if you join our course, you need to be committed. You can't expect us to kind of, help you to achieve an 8 without your commitment. Like, I want to really give Atune as an example, who is extremely committed, because when I communicate with him, we send him the essay questions. The essays are written on time. Then that makes me as a trainer also responsible. So coming to your question, remember that you need to be committed. If you follow our guidelines, if you complete the course on time, I am very sure you will pass the exam or you will achieve a very high score. However, you never know. Anything could happen. I guarantee that if someone, let's not say you, if someone doesn't achieve their required score, we will definitely support you. So that's the guarantee, guys. You only pay once with us. That's what we call as the guaranteed score. You only pay once. So we will support you further. We will guide you. We will see how it should be done. Now, it doesn't happen quite often for us because we don't want that to happen, because it's our reputation. That's why we have this mock exam. So what we do is, before you take the real exam, you have to take the mock exam with us. And if we see that it's not what we expected, or the candidate couldn't perform well, we will support you further before you take the real exam. So that way, guys, you will avoid this disappointment, and we'll also be very pleased. Guys, for us as a preparation center, Masterclass Online, we always prepare students to achieve a very high score. That's our motto, and that's our goal. We never consider a 6.5 to be like, wow, or a 6. Even like, for me, the biggest happiness is to see like students achieving 7.7, like for every section. That's the biggest thing. And like, 7 in writing, in their first attempt, it's like wonderful. Yes, Isa, you can study with your cell phone. Our platform is actually mobile based. So you can. But Isa, I also have to be open with you. I would appreciate when you write essays, you don't type it with your cell phone. Maybe you can write it, scan it, and then send to us. But I always prefer, guys, when you all send essays, you can attach your file and send it to us. But if it's a Word doc, that would be the best option for me and for my team, because that way we can edit, and also we will attach the band descriptors report. So we have a special report when we check essays for our students for every criterion, what requirements are there, and whether you have met all those requirements. And we will attach that to your essay, and we will send it. And you'll also understand whether you're making progress or not. So answering your question, I would say that definitely you can prepare with the help of your smartphone, but when you write essays, would be nice to receive like a Word doc. So how you're going to do, I don't know. No, Jane, like I said, it's not just recorded videos. You will have recorded videos on the platform, but you also will have weekly lessons. Twice a week, live lessons, like the webinar structure, like we have it today. And once a week, you're going to have Zoom lessons for speaking. We call it as the speaking workshops. So it's going to be Saturday morning or in the afternoon or Friday evenings, same time. Jinesh, I still believe that if you have just a month, we can help you with the expert course. So we can fast track it for you, make it more intense, and also provide individual sessions. Do you need to talk to our consultant? Valerie would get in touch with you, and I'm pretty sure she will help you out with that, Jinesh. She will help you out with that. Okay, guys. So please join the course. Looking forward to teaching you guys. I hope you found this free course useful. If you have questions, guys, please be free. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I see that already people have registered. That's a pleasure. And I'm really excited because I'm looking forward to teaching you guys on Monday. So when you join our course, guys, on Monday, we're going to start with matching headings, and true, false, not given. And also when it comes to listening section 1, I'm going to do a lesson on section 1, with numbers. Maybe you guys know people get confused with phone numbers, or if it's the driving license, like, when they read out the numbers, students get confused. So I have a special mechanism for that. So you guys will be joining me on Monday if you register for our IELTS expert course. So I'm really excited, looking forward to teaching you guys. Also, guys, I want to thank you all for today and yesterday. You guys have been amazing. So the gift that we promised will be emailed to you all. My team will do that. So don't worry, you will receive it either today evening or tomorrow, the PDF as well for your reference. But guys, I wish you all the very best. Take the exam seriously. Do not take it for granted, because I believe that you need effective preparation. You need the preparation to be effective and proper guidance. And believe me, guys, IELTS is just 5% of your dream. And you can't spend a lot of time and money on that, because that's the biggest problem. And people get so frustrated. Like I said, I had a student who had taken the exam 17 times before passing, and then she joined me and I had to work with her. It was in 2014, and it's an unforgettable experience because she was so frustrated, and I do understand her. That's why, guys, we need to be very careful with this. That's all. So yes, guys, webinars are conducted 7 p.m. the UAE time, 7 p.m. UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, 7 p.m. It's 8 p.m. Tashkent, Uzbekistan. And I love my students from Tashkent. I'm going to visit Tashkent again in Jan. And also 8 p.m. Kazakhstan. So once again, 7 p.m. UAE, 8 p.m. Tashkent, that's Uzbekistan, and 9 p.m. Kazakhstan. So that's the time we conduct our webinars. In case you can't make it, you can always watch the recording. And also, guys, you can send your questions. So you will watch the webinar. And then if it's a recording, you'll watch the webinar and you can say, like, okay, like, sir, I didn't understand this, or Nash, I didn't understand. You don't have to call me sir, you can call me Nash. So you can type it and then I'll get back to you the next day. So you can watch and, I'll answer your questions as well. And anyway, guys, if you miss the webinar, you'll always have access to the recording. And even if you attend the webinar, you'll also have the access to our recordings so that, you'll have it for your reference. So that won't be an issue. Okay, guys. So I want to call it a day. So thank you very much for joining the lesson. Looking forward to teaching you guys very soon. And really, thanks for the support. Like, you guys been really active. That's the most important part. That's why I'm saying I'm going to be excited, because I see that you guys are really involved. So that's why. Fine, guys. So have a great evening then. Wish you guys all the very best, and wish you guys only the highest score in IELTS. So thank you very much. Take care. Goodbye.
Так, Нэш, ну что,
Да, Olga,
как впечатление?
Нормально. А как у вас?
Очень хорошо, мне все понравилось. У нас сегодня хорошо получилось. Я нашла очень серьезный такой косяк, который нам надо будет исправить. Сейчас расскажу. Но у нас 2 заказа, 1 оплачен. И думаю, что мы еще поработаем с теми, кто был. Хорошо настроены ребята. Кого-то куда-то еще, скорее всего, выведем. Значит, у нас, смотрите, что. У нас в связи с тем, что задержка идет, у нас слайды появляются чуть раньше, чем они должны появляться. Вы их переключаете тогда, когда вы про это рассказываете, и это логично. Вот. Я подумаю, как мы можем каким-то другим способом подключаться, например, не через Zoom, а через прямую трансляцию на YouTube. Вот, и попробуем чуть-чуть по-другому перепровести. Потому что я сегодня, когда паковала первый вебинар, который мы вчера провели, я думаю, что такое? У меня комментарии бегут вперед, а слайды отстают. И я их передвигаю, как бы должно все нормально быть, а оно все не состыковывается. И мне пришлось перепрошивать вот так вот весь вебинар. В понедельник мы с вами еще раз посмотрим, но я думаю, что у меня получилось, и этот сделаем также. Поэтому есть шанс, что на автовебинар будет даже лучше реакция, потому что вот не будет такого отставания в слайдах.
Мгм.
То есть они у нас
Хорошо,
вперед
хорошо.
бегут. Мы там, вы там еще про то рассказываете, а слайд уже поменялся. Ну, не там ненадолго,
Я
не
это
сильно так
Я это видел,
критично.
да, поэтому я сказал, в прошлый раз, вот запись, то, что это я заметил, поэтому я думаю, да, почему, что происходит, да.
Я только сегодня до этого дошла. Думаю, что такое? А у меня-то совпадает, я-то вас в зуме слушаю. Я думаю, да все хорошо, все совпадает.
Мгм.
Вот.
Ну,
Такая
поэтому,
штука.
Ольга, да, я думаю, что вот это клип-митинг, я вчера попробовал, это работает VPN, но когда я вернусь, тогда можно об этом думать, но это было более удобно, Ольга, и вам тоже будет удобно, ваша жизнь тоже, понимаете, вот эта запись уже готова, это все. Я вам завтра, не завтра, но это в субботу, я вам понедельник тоже дам доступ к клип-митинг, что вы посмотрели тоже.
Давайте, хорошо,
Да,
попробуем, попробуем.
да, и сегодня весь день я записал вот это 100 уроков, вебинаров, там, клик-митинг для вот это, как я обещал сейчас, вот это reading, listening для курс, когда они покупали, что они были спокойно там поступили, это все можно устроить. Я это все сделаю. Еще выходные я завтра буду записаться вечером. Да,
Хорошо,
да,
хорошо.
да. Ну, нормально. Ну, честно говоря, вот это ваш совет, все я выполнил. Как вы говорите, все вот презентациям, все время продающим, да, это работает. Один человек
Работает,
купил, но
работает. Один купил. Ну, у нас получился такой же по продуктивности пока веб, как и в прошлый раз. Но сегодня пятница. Это вообще уникально, что у нас собралось столько народу. Были очень активные, были правильные вопросы. То
да, да,
есть
да.
это прям хорошо. Для автовебинара это вообще самое главное.
Ну, я тоже еще
Вот.
думаю, как мы разговаривали вчера с вами, Ольга, да, это нужно вот Фейсбуком, там, что реклама, да, показывать, что нужно поговорить, да, еще Facebook Live, понимаете, это все как блогером, понимаете, ребята, мне вопрос, что я показываю себе как эксперт, понимаете. Вы знаете, честно говоря, я это буду делать с удовольствием. Вот это, как я сделаю сейчас, да, меня вообще никаких стресс, если видите, я могу это дальше вот 10 часов сделать. Мне вот бизнес, вот все вопросом, там ерундам, там Анна мне пишет по поводу возврата, какие-то проблемы, урок, который преподаватель проводил
Это
нехорошо,
всегда
и потом, да,
выбивает. Это всегда
да, и
очень
мне нужно,
выбивает из
да, мне
колеи,
придется
поэтому
говорить
это
студентам.
надо ограничивать.
Да, 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 да,
Вам надо меньше общаться со студентами напрямую. Это вот первое, что вам нужно сделать. Вам надо из
да,
операционки выходить, чтобы они вас не сбивали. Делегируйте это. Это в первую очередь
да.
надо делегировать. Научите Аню или еще кого-то разбираться со сложными вопросами. Потому что как только руководитель влезает в какие-то возвраты, какие-то недовольства, все, сразу же
Да,
падает
да.
все.
Да, вот понедельник, Ольга, честно говоря, да, это личный, да, меня дальше вот я такой устал стрессом, потому что Аня мне все время пишет вот вопрос, вот какой-то, да, какой-то преподаватель, у нас был преподаватель какой-то вопрос, меня, да, больше не могу, да,
Такой вопрос, смотрите, когда вам такой вопрос задают, сразу же просите варианты ответов на этот же самый вопрос. Что ты предлагаешь? Как бы ты поступила? Что будем делать? Давай предлагай. И постепенно сотрудники научатся самостоятельно принимать решения и брать за них ответственность, самое главное. Поэтому, конечно, проще всего написать шефу и сказать: шеф, все пропало.
да,
Так
да, да, да,
нельзя.
да, ну,
Это
да,
вам
да, у
надо
нас вот,
очень
да,
ограничивать себя от этого.
да, 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 поэтому, да, Ольга, когда, например, да, вот мне тоже очень было стыдно, вот вчера, сегодня я конечно поговорю, потому что когда вы там курс ну, на Telegram, да, или это не что я там, я крутой, я не отвечаю, просто я не успеваю отвечать, вот
Я
это, потому что
знаю,
я
конечно.
вот, да, и вот эта
Ну,
презентация,
вам
вот
надо,
наш прошлый раз, да,
да, вы так разорветесь. Надо
да,
обязательно ответственность поручать
да,
сотрудникам. Надо делать так, чтобы они брали на себя ответственность.
да, да, да.
Иначе это можно вообще утонуть. Никаких сил не хватит на это все.
Да, да, потому что вот это, Ольга, вообще я могу каждый день, каждый час, понимаете, проводить вебинар, и сейчас, если второй, я могу второй тоже проводить, это меня не проблема, а вот это меня утром, вот это 100 вопросов, сегодня было хорошо, потом я Ане поговорил, да, что она это принимала ответственность этим вопросом,
Да.
ну, студентов тоже, да, Потому что сейчас, Ольга, только у нас есть возможность сдавать экзамен. В России, например, пойти тут куда-то, да, в такой выгодный цена. Я всегда за интерес студента, понимаете? Я всегда, я дальше вот бизнесом не думаю, что карманы... Если я думаю, я буду очень богат. Я всегда думаю за их интересом. И работать над, например, вот зарплатным все вовремя было, это все. Я это очень серьезно понимаю. Вы правильно, да, я буду очень благодарен, что мои сотрудники тоже принимали ответственность и обсудили со мной все вопросы, понимаете? И это...
Да, вам надо начальника. Вам надо начальника. Вы руководитель, вам нужен начальник. Обязательно,
Да.
потому что мы когда с вами начали работать, я спрашиваю, так, а кто у нас начальник? А у нас за это кто отвечает? Нэш. А за это кто? Тоже Нэш. А за это? А когда Нэш вообще деньги зарабатывает? Когда? Когда Нэш зарабатывает деньги, если он занимается этим и этим?
Ну да. Но я всегда готов вот вебинар проводить пока, когда у нас есть, потому что преподаватель сейчас занят вот это групповым курсом. И у меня есть вот это еще один Ольга, вот наш экономический директор. Но я думаю, что следующая будет это она и еще Диана. У нас есть, короче, преподаватель еще, но они сейчас группам, да. Когда у нас появится, да, я думаю, через месяц-два они тоже будут на вот этот вебинар проводить. Я, честно говоря, вот в прошлом пятницу встретила одна преподаватель, я сказал, что я провожу вот этот вебинар. Когда я уже понял, что моя мама сильно болит, мне придется пойти, я спросил, вы можете проводить? Она говорит, я не готов, как я буду проводить, понимаете? Я сказал, ну давай. И вот видите, да, и они тоже не готовы. Я сказал, да, у меня есть презентация, я могу вам это все объяснить, я вам покажу, где это. Я знаю,
Очень
что...
сложно. Спикера найти очень сложно. Ну, то есть, когда я услышала, как вы говорите, я точно поняла, что все получится. Потому что мы сами нанимали спикера на отдельный проект, у нас была такая история. Мы прописывали каждое слово. Она просто с суфлера читала. Представляете, весь вебинар читать с суфлера. Это жесть была. Но мы вывели этот проект в плюс довольно долго, почти целый год выводили, но закрыли его. Ну, то есть отработали, закрыли и поняли, что найти спикера – это вообще найти как бриллиант какой-то вот. Очень
Ну
сложно найти спикера.
Да. Ну, не переживайте, у нас есть с вами хорошее будущее, да. Я думаю, да, я это все вижу. И посмотрим, в понедельник я квик-митинг тоже вам отправлю. Вы посмотрите, как вы это видите.
Давайте
это на будущее,
посмотрим.
да.
Да, мы вообще с девчонками сами протестируем, там это несложно. Я сделаю комнату, протестируем через VPN и посмотрим, как это выглядит.
Да, если, вы знаете, вот это бизон, я как вижу, что вы такой профессионал, я думаю, клик-митинг это у вас ничего, понимаете, это вообще, да, вы так будете реагировать, да, очень, да, и это для других преподавателей тоже это будет удобно, Ольга, понимаете?
Хорошо, давайте, да. Я не против. Мне очень понравился SendPulse, сейчас вот мы программируем рассылку, очень он гибкий такой прям, ну, есть, конечно, свои такие нюансы, про которые просто надо держать в голове, не забывать и вовремя как бы смазывать детальки. Вот, а вообще, в принципе, хорошо.
Ну, это все удобно, Ольга, потому что вы такая, понимаете, вы профессионал, вам, да, это легко, поэтому, да, я это очень рад, что, да, но вы видите, вы начинаете с нами работать, мы продаж видим. Это уже месяц, да, это...
Ну, мало,
почти
но
месяц,
у вас, вы смотрите, сравнивайте себя со вчерашним с собой. То есть, как вы проводили первый вебинар и как вы вот провели сегодня, например. Прошло-то всего там 3 недели. Ну, по сути, 3 недели прошло. Вот, это, конечно, глобальная разница. Вот, поэтому, да, растем. Думаю, что все пойдет. Студенты у нас хорошие, ни одного хейтера нету на вебинаре, чтобы там, знаете, они вообще могут так подпортить само, вот вы как ведущий видите вот это все, и у вас сразу же настроение меняется, а настроение очень много дает. Ну, то есть вы уже не отдаете столько энергии, вас эту энергию съел вот этот человек-хейтер, у нас таких нет, хорошо.
Согласен, да, есть такие, я тоже об этом очень переживаю, когда я читаю вот этот чат, Я всегда, да, что они будут писать, ну ладно, вижу, что они нормально.
Вы должны понимать, что 5% всех студентов всегда будут недовольны чем-либо. Какой бы мы идеальный курс ни сделали, какой бы мы идеальный вебинар ни провели, они все равно будут недовольны чем-то. Эти 5% есть всегда, и на них просто надо забить, и все. Ну, то есть они есть и есть, это просто хейтеры. Они есть всегда, будут всегда, но это только 5 максимум, обычно где-то 1-2%. У нас тем более ниша такая солидная, поэтому у нас вообще меньше 1% таких должно быть. Но они все равно будут. Это такие люди, которые в жизни что-то с ними случилось, они недовольны, и они вымещают свою злобу на всех остальных. То есть они всем недовольны всегда.
Я
Просто не
согласен.
обращаем на них внимания.
Хорошо, хорошо. Все, спасибо вам тогда. Отдыхайте до выходных, да, мы в понедельник тогда.
Да, в понедельник встретимся, мы пойдем сейчас еще доделывать всю нашу цепочку, чтобы нам сегодня запустить рекламу уже.